And so the first video I want to take a look at seems to be the definition of quality satire. So it's someone making the argument that if you don't want to be fat, you are fatphobic and, by extension, an oppressor. It's truly inspiring. I mean, I could take a few notes from this guy. Wait, that's not, he's not being satirical? These are actually his opinions? And there are other people like this on TikTok? Hell, man.
Honestly, same. I am just as confused about this man's content as you are. That clip is from a video from another creator named Jimmy Robbins. It'll be in the description. If you enjoy my videos on this topic, you'll probably really enjoy his video as well. So go watch that. But this is the first time I'm doing an entire video dedicated to a single fat acceptance creator. And that is William. So let's go.
In 1998, millions of Americans became obese and overweight overnight. Sorry, what now? Yeah, and the National Institutes for Health changed the BMI classifications based on research funded by weight loss drug companies. Say more right now. The classification change was based on a World Health Organization report that was written by the International Obesity Task Force. Want to take a guess at who funded the research for the International Obesity Task Force? Not weight loss drug companies. Oh my god, you guessed it. Who would have thought that even the obesity epidemic that conveniently supports the diet culture industry was made up for what? For profit.
Did you know in 2013, hundreds of thousands of Americans became autistic overnight? Yeah, it's true. In that year, the medical categorization of Asperger's syndrome was changed from being considered a separate disorder from autism to being considered part of the autism spectrum. Now, was that a huge conspiracy against the autistic community? No, obviously not. Medical categorizations change all the time. The people with Asperger's had the same condition in 2012 as they did in 2013. Just like the people who became obese in 1998 were fat the day before the obesity criteria changed, they were fat the day it changed, and they were also fat the day after it changed. The only thing that was different was their body's categorization in medical settings. And then the rest of this video is just conspiracy nonsense that I will not entertain on this day.
If you have to take extreme measures to be at your current body size, you're probably not supposed to be that size. And that is okay.
This is one of those sentiments that at face value I can't exactly disagree with, but it still doesn't hit right, if you get what I'm saying. Mostly because the fat acceptance movement has a very different interpretation of the word extreme than most other people. If you make an attempt to lose weight and you go from being completely sedentary and eating fast food every single day to then working out 30 minutes a day and only eating fast food once a week, that could be seen as extreme by some people. But that doesn't mean it's wrong or bad or unhealthy. And taking extremes to get healthier when you are extremely overweight or underweight may actually be what's necessary to keep you alive.
The fat liberation movement is not about encouraging people to become fat, but rather fighting against the narrative that everyone must work to become thin. Liberating fat bodies liberates all bodies. Fight fatphobia, for them and for you.
Everyone should be thin. And by thin, I mean a healthy weight. Not too low and not too high. And true liberation of fat bodies isn't pushing the narrative that being fat is okay in terms of their health. Liberating fat bodies is providing access to as many resources as possible for people to lose and maintain weight in a healthy and sustainable way.
Weight loss dieting has a 95% failure rate. Not the 95% figure again. Dude, that comes from one study from 1959. Yeah, it did originate in a 1959 study, but it's been proven time and time again. Name all those times then. Cite your sources. Gladly. In 1992, an NIH panel found that 90 to 95% of all people who participate in weight loss dieting gain 2/3 of it back within a year. And in a period of 5 years, all of it. Okay, that's one example, I guess. Also, in a 2015 study of 278,000 people attempting weight loss, they found that 95 to 98% of the time, they gained all of the weight back in a period of 5 years. Okay, got it. So, diets aren't that great or effective, I guess. Diets are time-consuming, expensive, and emotionally exhausting. We would not accept that kind of failure rate from any other industry, and yet so many of us partake in it anyway.
Because I have no respect for my own time, I went through each of these citations he gave in the video, and you guys are going to come along for the ride. So first, the 1992 NIH study. First of all, let me say that referencing any study that is 30 years old as a primary source in a field as well studied as obesity is laughable on its own and would be completely unacceptable by anyone doing real research. But the study I'm pretty sure he's referencing does say that 1 to 2/3 of people who lost weight regain it within a year, and most people gain it back within 5 years. The study also does say that along with dietary and exercise changes, behavior modification strategies that reinforce these lifestyle changes help maintain people's weight loss long term better than if these types of reinforcements aren't used. Basically, this study just says that weight loss is difficult and the maintenance of lifelong weight loss takes consistent effort, which isn't news. He also says that this 2015 study says that 95 to 98% of people attempting to lose weight gained it all back. First of all, let me read the conclusion of this study. The probability of attaining normal weight or maintaining weight loss is low. Obesity treatment frameworks grounded in community-based weight management programs may be ineffective. But there's a few things with this study. First of all, there are no exact percentages of the people who lost weight or maintained weight loss during this entire study. Like, I read through the entire thing and there's nothing about this 95 to 98% number at all, so I don't know where he got this. And second of all, and most importantly for what he's referencing, this study didn't track what participants were trying to lose weight. It wasn't an intentional weight loss study. It essentially took a large group of people, it calculated their BMIs, and then over the next 9 years, they occasionally took new measurements of these people. Some of these people very well might have been trying to lose weight, but some of them might have also been trying to gain weight. But we don't know that because the study didn't keep track of that information. And you are misrepresenting the data if you try to frame this as an intentional weight loss study. So let's summarize. In this video where he argues that intentional weight loss almost always fails 95+% of the time, he referenced a 30-year-old study, a 55-year-old study, and a more recent study that didn't even track if the participants were trying to lose weight. Please give this man his PhD. His research skills are impeccable.
Let's talk about all the times it's appropriate to comment on someone's weight. This concludes our conversation. Thank you so much.
If someone you know has been sharing about how they are trying to lose weight or gain muscle or anything like that, and you see them succeeding, it is kind of you to congratulate them on their progress.
I hate the words overweight and underweight, especially when used to describe people you see on social media or on the street. You don't know what someone's natural set point or healthy weight is just by looking at them. So you can't know whether they are over or under the weight they're supposed to be. Don't say that, and especially don't assign moral value to it. Just don't comment on people's bodies.
People's ideal body weights exist within a range, and at its extremes, it is reasonable to call someone overweight or underweight. I can call Eugenia Cooney underweight and Tess Holliday overweight, and that really can't be disputed. It doesn't have to be referenced in a moralistic way. It's just true.
You never know that they did. Unless you're spending every single second with them, you don't know. Maybe they did, but you don't know, so it's not your place to comment on it. Compliments on weight loss reinforce the idea that weight loss is positive and weight gain is negative.
First of all, it is beyond patronizing and demeaning to tell someone that told you they lost weight in a healthy way that because you can't confirm their weight loss was done in a healthy way, that you can't acknowledge it as a positive or as an achievement. That's like someone getting excited about telling you they saved enough money to buy a new computer and you telling them, I can't congratulate you because, well, I haven't seen your bank statements, so I can't be sure you didn't go into debt buying this computer. Maybe don't be a and just trust people. And for some people, weight loss is a positive, and it's okay to acknowledge that.
If you like to argue that thin privilege doesn't exist and that instead we should refer to the systemic disadvantages that come with being a larger bodied person as fat consequence, you're not educated, you don't care about their health, you're just a fucking jerk. Acknowledge your fat phobia. It's unbecoming.
I don't want to sound vain, but I feel like this video is specifically targeted at people like me. So let's go through it point by point. Number 1, you're uneducated. No, I'm actually quite educated on social issues. Number 2, you don't care about health. This is true to an extent. I care about the misinformation surrounding obesity and its relation to other people's health and the fact that other people may fall prey to this type of misinformation, but I don't care about most fat people's individual health. But I don't know if me saying I don't care about fat people's individual health even counts against me in this case, because there's this thing in the fat acceptance community about them complaining about concern trolling and how people don't actually care about fat people's health, they're just trying to troll them, and how people that talk about the risks of obesity don't actually care about fat people's health and all this stuff. So I feel like me saying I don't care about most fat people's individual health wouldn't count against me because that's kind of what they want. I don't know. I don't know if me saying that is a positive or negative in this context. So despite being educated and not caring about fat people's health, which I'm going to say is a positive, I'm still going to say that not being able to fit in a plane seat is fat consequence. If that makes me fat phobic, then I'll wear it as a badge of honor. But if me saying thin privilege doesn't exist is unbecoming, does cherry picking scientific studies, constantly patronizing people who have lost weight, while generally projecting to the world that you haven't fully recovered from your own eating disorder, also make you unbecoming? Because it seems pretty unsightly to me.
Calories are just units of energy. Eating low calorie is eating low energy. Why would you eat low energy?
First of all, some, quote, low-energy foods are the most nutrient-dense foods, like most fruits and vegetables. And second, consistently eating foods that are too high energy means you end up like the people on My 600-Pound Life that struggle to walk and shower and often breathe. Eating high-energy foods isn't inherently bad, but when you start to wear the excess energy on your body in the form of fat, it can become a problem.
If someone makes fun of you for being thin, they are wrong. Full stop. They are wrong. But you should never turn around and call them fat in a derogatory way, because you still have thin privilege. And every time we use fat derogatorily, it harms fat people.
I can understand the stance that retaliation with the intent to hurt someone after they harm you isn't good, but the power dynamic he's referencing, that thin people systematically have more privilege in society, is wrong. There is not, nor have there ever been institutional laws that have prevented fat people from having as many rights as thin people. It may be more offensive to call someone fat than it is to call someone thin, but to imply that thin people should acknowledge that they automatically have more rights than fat people is wildly offensive to the groups of people that actually face systematic oppression.
We're probably fatphobic, and I am too, but that's not our fault. It was socialized into us. We were raised to believe that being fat is a moral failing, and it's not. What is shameful is to not combat your fat phobia, and you can't do that until you have accepted that you are fatphobic. It is not productive to feel shame over something that was baked into all of us. It is productive to identify it and then work on it.
This is another one that on the surface, it's not that bad. But knowing from his other content that he believes that fat phobia is an oppressive system and that being fat is an inherent trait for some people, this video isn't as innocent as it seems. If people continue to watch his content after seeing this video, they won't find information that just says, be nice to fat people, don't harass them, treat them like humans. You know, like normal stuff that people would say if they were talking about fat phobia. They'll find videos of him saying that weight loss is impossible and implying that you're a bad person for being proud of your weight loss. None of those things should be considered fighting fat phobia. Something that is conspicuously left out of all of these TikToks is William actually saying there are no adverse side effects of being overweight. He says that we're all fat phobic and that weight loss is basically impossible and that it is impossible to visually tell if someone is overweight, but he never outright says that having a lot of excess body fat isn't healthy. I honestly find this really weird, and I don't know if it's because he thinks he'll get backlash for saying it, or he thinks it's implied enough in his content that he doesn't actually need to say it, but I have yet to find a video of him saying something like that. So yeah, that's it for this video. If you enjoyed, please give the video a like. And also go watch the other video I referenced earlier. He does most of the video talking about William, and it's funny and informative, and he goes hard, which I appreciate. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.